Welcome to the Happiness Jungle TV show. I am your guest host, CamiBaker.com, and our guest today is a woman that I met about 7 years ago, and ever since then she has been my magician, Dr. Peggy Gregory. And Peggy does Botox and all the other fun stuff that makes me and other people look great for a lot longer. Peggy, it's so nice to have you on the show after all these years.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so share with our viewers a little bit about yourself and how in the world you got into what you do.
Well, I got into this because I just love helping people. And it started off, I started in medical school at Tufts in Boston, where I went into obstetrics and gynecology, where I did my residency down in Philadelphia. So I came up here and I worked with Dartmouth Hitchcock. And after a while of delivering babies and doing surgeries, I decided that I needed to change my pace a little bit, have a little more balance, and I wanted to continue to work with people helping to improve their lives. So I started off Ageless Medical Spa, and I was doing laser services such as hair reduction and some pigment control, and just evolved into more of a full-service medical spa. So I enjoy myself every day. I come to work and I have fun. I have some awesome clients that have been with me before I even started Ageless. And we've been doing this for about 15, 16 years now. And every day it's a pleasure to be able to come meet new people and help them feel better about themselves and just achieve the goals that they're looking for.
You know, I didn't know you when you were birthing those babies. That was long before me, but what a major shift from that type of medicine to what you do now. I think it's really important that our viewers know, like when you go to a service provider for Botox and the different things, we'll talk about some of your services, not everybody's a doctor. So to actually have someone like yourself with that kind of experience and professionalism is really important.
Thank you. I think that's really very good to point out. A lot of people who are doing Botox and fillers and other types of cosmetic procedures may have had a one-day course, and then they're able to go ahead and do injections. I've been doing these injections for about 15 years. And prior to that, I had a very good background in surgery. So it allows me to look at the patient a little bit differently. I'm looking at the structures of their face. I'm looking for where their muscles are going. I'm looking and trying to make sure that I'm not going to be doing any damage to some areas that I don't want, such as dropping somebody's eyebrow or other types of complications. And the fact that I've been doing this for quite some time, I can pretty much predict what your outcome's going to look like. And we talk about that, we work together, and come up with a plan that's individually suited for each patient. And that way we're giving them the best outcomes, the best being able to look their youngest, feel their best. It really helps with self-esteem. I've had clients that have come into me, women with facial hair, who have been very self-conscious and really didn't want to go out in the daytime because they felt uncomfortable in their own skin. We've done laser hair reduction for those women. And one woman that I'm thinking of in particular really, kind of touches me because she was able to go out and get a better job. She gave her that self-confidence back, and it really, just put that pep in her step and a little bit more self-confidence. And unfortunately, she moved out of the area, but I think about her often.
Well, I can speak from experience with the feeling better and having the self-confidence. I've been getting Botox for maybe 8 years or so. I had gotten it before I met you, and there's been different circumstances when I've moved away and weren't using your services. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference in the placement of it, how much is being used. And about 6 months ago, I was going to do some business development marketing with another group that does Botox, and they lost their injectionist. And they were looking for a nurse. They have to be at least a nurse. And I didn't understand this, and I know our viewers don't know this either, but he was like, well, we just need a nurse with this kind of a degree, whether she's ever done this or not. That's just who we need as an injectionist. And it just made me think, I don't want to be their guinea pig. I don't want to be the person that she's learning on and having one eyebrow here and one eyebrow there. So it really is important who you go to. And as a matter of fact, you're creating 7 tips around Botox, 7 tips around different types of fillers. And one of your tips is around making sure that the person you go to is qualified.
Yes, yes. I think it is important to make sure that you're going to an experienced injection provider, as well as any of the types of cosmetic, aesthetic types of procedures that you're having done. I've been using the fillers, and there are a number of different types of fillers. There are a number of different areas that you can use fillers, and as far as the different types of materials, I won't go into that today. There's a lot of different compounds that can be used. But it is important that your practitioner not only knows, where to put them, but how to put them, and how to avoid different types of problems with blood vessels. And everybody can bruise, but we try to limit that to the best of our ability, and so that we have good outcomes. So we can do fillers in the cheek, we can do the nasolabial folds, the lips, and just to basically make you look less tired, feel better about yourself. And it's great for somebody to come up to you and say, wow, you look awesome. Have you just been on vacation? And I'm like, well, it was Dr. Gregory.
You're a great walking billboard of your product, and I don't mind telling people, for all those who are watching, I'll be 52 in June, and
you're a baby.
And so, people usually think I'm about 15 years younger, and it's because I go to you, and you know what to do, and it's not just the Botox in the forehead, it's the filler. I got a little bit of filler in here, and my lips have a little bit, but not so much that you'd even know. You wouldn't know if I didn't tell. So,
all right, so I'll go on air and say I'm 62.
Yeah.
And most people tell me I look a lot younger, but I'm hoping they're not just trying to flatter me.
Well, even if they are, it's true. It truly is true.
Thank you.
Now, besides Botox and filler, let's talk about a few more of your services, and then I want to talk a little bit about your community involvement, because I know you really give back in the area. A lot of different organizations are benefited by you. By you and what you do. So what are a couple other services you want to share?
Sure. Other than the face and laser services, we've been doing body sculpting, which has been very exciting. So I have equipment that can work on all the layers of, say, the abdominal wall. So I can work on the muscle with the M-Sculpt, which is a great new technology that's been out. Love it. Helps with that core strength.
Now, it's kind of, because I saw you do it the other day, it's kind of like the commercial you used to see with the thing that you'd wrap around that would
oh, yes.
Isn't it kind of like that?
You may think it looks like that, but
much more high tech. Was it like 90,000 sit-ups or something?
It's like 20,000 abdominal crunches.
20,000.
And it doesn't just vibrate. It's actually using focused electromagnetic energy, which is going to contract your contract the abdominal striated muscle. So what's going to happen is you're going to feel those rectus muscles contract, and it's just doing your crunches for you. So it's really a non-painful, non-invasive procedure, and it's going to help you with that core. So almost anything that we do requires core strength. You want to sit up straight. I ride horses, and it's given me much more endurance. If somebody's playing golf, running, cycling, everything requires that core strength. So it's really giving your body that basis of being able to perform at a better efficiency. You're getting your peak workouts. You can combine this with going to the gym. So a lot of people use it as a little bit of a kickstart. It's great because a lot of times people aren't doing those outside activities during the winter. So you can come in and And basically, I have television that you can sit and watch, relax. You can listen to your music on your headphones, or just we can sit and chat and go over other things that may be beneficial.
And you do it with your clothes on, because when I saw you giving the service to the model that day, as long as there's no metal, because I just want people to know, like, you don't even have to get undressed for this. You wear a pair of sweatpants or yoga pants or something, and just goes right on over your clothes.
It's great when people come in with their workout clothes on, because there's no no zippers, no rivets from jeans, things like that. And we can go ahead and place you on the machine, and as you're right, you don't have to disrobe. And that brings me to one of our other new pieces of equipment, which I'm really excited for women. A lot of women, as they get older and have had children, they might have a little bit of urinary incontinence when they cough, sneeze, do jumping jacks.
Ride a horse.
Ride a horse, you got it. So what we do is using also the electromagnetic energy. It's called Emsella, and it is a big chair that you sit in, and you position yourself so that your muscles in your pelvic area contract. And so it's almost like Kegel exercises on steroids. It's non-painful, and for a half an hour you're doing your Kegel exercises. I don't know how many women actually do them. As a gynecologist in my earlier life, I used to tell everybody, oh, do these Kegel exercises, and if I'm like many women, I never did them. But the Emsella, we've had some wonderful success stories with Emsella, and being able to reduce that embarrassing moments when you cough or sneeze off guard, or even laugh.
Well, there's a Facebook Live that you did that's on your Facebook page that our viewers can watch. Last time we looked, there have been 5,000 views of that video of you showing how it works with you sitting in the chair, how easy it is. You're just doing the dial, and here it is. It's so simple.
Doing the dial. It was a little distracting, shall I say, while I'm trying to talk and going through a treatment, but again, not painful.
So. Let's talk about what you're doing in the community.
Okay.
Because you know, when I met you years ago, I've seen you do all different kinds of things with different domestic violence groups and veterans. What is it that really speaks to your heart?
Well, I am very passionate about giving back to the community, especially the veterans. And I did a lot of rotations through the VA hospital systems when I was in medical school. And it just brought to me the fact that a lot of the veterans were in the hospitals without visitors, maybe without family. I used to help some of them run some errands for them down to the commissary and do things for them. But being out in the community now and seeing the homelessness, seeing the wounded veterans, and I got married last summer, and instead of having gifts, we donated everything to Wounded Warriors.
Nice.
And I really, hope that everybody gets involved in some of these charitable events. It really, brings it close to your heart when you're helping other people. And I guess that's just an extension of what my life's been, helping people between delivering babies, and some of these babies I've delivered are actually clients in my aesthetics now. And, it's hard to believe that they grew up so fast. But, that helping women, helping people that have going through hard times, whether it be financial reasons, lost a job, or divorce, or just in general, not being in a good place. And, I love being able to spend my time, sitting with them, helping them look prettier, feeling better about themselves. So as part of that, we've done some collections and gotten my clients involved to help other women and men, especially the veterans. And we're going to continue to do that. And
it's the worst irony in the world that our men and women fight for our freedom, and God forbid lose a limb, or the PTSD that, I mean, can you just imagine being on the battlefield and the things that they see and go through, and then they come back to this land that they've kept so safe, and they're just treated so poorly in some situations. There's a lot of groups that I've worked with, and all between, there's a group called Mission 22, because 22 veterans a day commit suicide.
Oh, that's just tragic.
Tragic. And then there's a group up in Pease Air Force Base, the Pease Greeters, as the airplanes are coming and going with our service people. There are between 50 to 200 people every day, 3 and 4 times a day, that show up to greet our service people and give them a hug and give them a cup of coffee. And so there's just so many different ways of giving back. You've recently met a group called Homeland Heroes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about what they do.
Well, they're a local group, nonprofit, and they help veterans who are getting into apartments or housing. So they help them furnish their housing for them. So they take in donations of furniture. They'll take in donations of new bedding and items, new toys for the children. So they're doing a wonderful, wonderful job at helping our local community getting back on their feet and getting them into a safe and warm, comfortable home where they actually have some furniture to sit on. So that's wonderful. So I'm in the process of trying to rally around some of my clients to help them and just bring these things to the forefront so that people know about them. I wouldn't have known about them before, and it's important for all of us to know about them. I'm just going to share just a little bit. Sure. My dad was in Korea, and he never spoke much of it, but I knew that there was something behind there, because there were certain foods that he wouldn't even look at. He would not eat rice when he came home. And so as much as he didn't have issues with alcoholism like a lot of the vets or drug problems, there were some issues, and he kept them well hidden. And I would love to be able to look at the veterans and see our country just in general, our society, do a much better job with PTSD. You can't go abroad and see some of these horrendous things that happened during war, whether it was something that you saw from a roadside bomb or somebody else with a bomb or a bullet, but you can't be unscathed from any of that. Whether you've pulled the trigger or not, you're going to take that with you.
The more you talk about that, the more I'm thinking that it's for our homeless veterans, there's so much that can be done to feed them, and then, with Homeland Heroes helping them to furnish their apartment. But, to your point, being at the hospital, so many of them didn't have visitors. There's so much you can do just by volunteering some time and going down and having a conversation with them. Let them talk for an hour.
Yeah.
Let them tell you their stories.
Be a volunteer.
Yeah.
Go to the VA hospitals and see what you can do. Look for different organizations that are going to be able to spread the word. But a lot of people just want to be heard. They just want somebody to sit and listen.
That's the case, for sure. So I'd like to go back a little bit and hear a little bit about Peggy's story. Like, you became a doctor. So what was your upbringing like? You mentioned your father was in Korea. So what was it that led you to the doctor path?
Well, my mom leaned on me a lot. I was the middle child. She leaned on me a lot to help her with the household, with I have a younger sister, and both my parents worked, so we were responsible for helping get dinner ready before my folks got home, and we all had chores. We helped clean the house, we helped dust and vacuum, and watch my younger sister from, I'm going to say, about 10 years old on. And then I became very interested in science and went to the University of Lowell for medical technology and worked in a laboratory. And at that point, being in the hospital, in the laboratory and meeting people that I was actually drawing blood and things like that, that I decided I really wanted to go further and become a doctor.
Is there a story there about what made you want to go in that direction? Because being a young, beautiful woman and wanting to do something with blood, I don't know. I'm like, there's a
I wanted to do something with science.
Science.
And I'm the first person in my family that went to college. So I really didn't have a mentor. And I found my profession by looking through a large book in the guidance
Get
office.
out.
And said, oh, I like science. Let's do this.
Huh.
And so I've just continued to evolve since I was a teenager, and just fell into that. I really like helping people. I like to partner with my people. When I was for my bachelor's degree, we were always taught the healthcare team. It was always a team approach. So I've taken that with me into medicine, and try to incorporate the patients, the nurses, myself, and have it more of a collaborative type of practicing. And I bring that to now my aesthetics practice, where I educate my clients as to what would be the best, or what I would feel would be the recommended option. And then we work together to decide with with their goals in mind, and with their budget in mind, obviously, and their lifestyle. Well, what's going to be the best option? And we talk about that. We decide together, and then we move forward with a treatment plan.
You know, as you're talking about all that, mentioning not having a mentor yourself and how you like the team approach, you have a massage therapist who's fabulous, by the way, and an esthetician who's fabulous, by the way. I've used all of your services. I could see you like doing some kind of big sister kind of gathering where, you know, the three of you professionals that are there talking about your chosen profession and encouraging these girls to go in that direction. That would be super fun.
I think we always need to encourage our young women, boys too. They already seem to have a lot of encouragement, but our young women to go into scientific type of employment professions. I have trained medical students, and I've trained residents in the past. I've had clients bring in their teenage daughters to speak with them, tell them what it's like to be a doctor, tell them, you know, what it's like to study. I happened to go to medical school. My oldest daughter was 18 months old, and so a lot of time management skills. But I just want, you know, young women to know you can do this, you can be this, and it's great to have somebody to help you along. And I would be, you know, more than willing to talk to the young women and give them a little bit of advice if they're asking for it, or at least tell them my story and how I've made it through different portions of my life. Some nice, some maybe not so nice, but that's what makes us all human, and we all have our own stories to tell, and we work through it.
Well, speaking of that, we've got about 3 minutes left on the show. What are some words of advice or encouragement? Are there any certain books that you'd recommend to young girls, or any? As I find it fascinating that as a doctor, you thought about your career from a book that you read.
I know. Well, I think people have, women have a lot more opportunity to surround themselves with professionals, and just being able to talk to professionals that, you know, that might come to a school group, that might do some, you know, bring students into offices, things like that. I guess the biggest thing that I would say is honesty. So, you know, you need to be an honest person. You need to have excitement about what you're doing, love what you're doing, curiosity, and the really drive to learn, because you're going to learn from every interaction that you have. And so you need to continue to learn. I continue to learn different things even now. And I love that. And I love to be able to help people up when they might be feeling down or something's going on. It's like we should all be pulling each other's bootstraps. We shouldn't be putting people down to make ourselves feel better. So I'm at the point where I really want positive, just positive energy for everyone. Everyone should be the best that they can. And I think that starts with youngsters. And you just continue to instill positive and honesty and truthfulness and following passion.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, actually, you, with your services at the med spa, you are servicing people that are younger than those of us who are in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. What are just a couple of the services that they tend to want to have?
Skincare products, acne treatments. I'm treating patients over 18 for Botox to help prevent those lines that mom or dad had, that you can tell that you're going to get when you're older. Just look at mom and dad. So I started my own daughter when she was in her early 20s with a little bit of Botox. She doesn't get it all the time, but it's going to help keep her from having those lines across her forehead.
Well, you're a living example of that. You've always been so beautiful and have always had that porcelain skin, and it comes from just never getting the frown lines to start off with.
It helps.
So,
or
Peggy,
the sun.
I am so glad that we have taken the time to get together and to showcase you on the TV show, to talk a little bit about not only your services and inspiring the young girls, but the veterans and the domestic abuse. I just really want to honor you for who you are. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that's another episode of the Happiness Jungle TV show. Bye, everybody.